Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our April 4th meeting. First of all, we would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson Superior Treaty Territory and that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Métis. Can we have approval of the agenda for the open session? I have one add-on, the Director of Operations report, Aqua expenditures, and I put that under Committee of the Whole, Department reports as number 13. Anybody else got anything? Hearing none. Is there any disclosures of interest? Hearing no disclosures of interest, we got no delegations. Question period, Nathan?
No questions.
No questions. So we'll move right into minutes of previous meetings. Resolution 113-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Bourgeau, that the minutes of the Council and Committee of the Whole meeting held March 13th, 2023 be accepted as circulated. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 114-23. Moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that the minutes of the special council meeting held March 16th, 2023 be accepted as circulated. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes of March 13th or March 16th minutes? None. Move on to Committee of the Whole recommendations from March 13th then. Resolution 115-23. Moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Bourgeau, that Council accept the 2022 annual summary report for the Schreiber drinking water system as prepared by the Ontario Clean Water Agency on behalf of the Township of Schreiber. Discussion?
Just a note, we're accepting the revised one.
No,
Correct.
the other one was revised.
No, this one was revised.
It was the section 11 one that was.
Yep. The report that's referring to, I'm under the impression, is the,
There's two different reports for the water, the
Right.
drinking water system.
right, the Schreiber water and wastewater treatment.
The revised schedule, section 11, is number 12 on your agenda.
Right. So this motion, Tammy, to accept this annual summary report, were we accepting the one that's revised as number 12 or the one that was presented on March the 13th? Are they not the same report?
No.
No? again, I'm confused. Sorry.
So
There's
the
an
difference,
Annual summary report for the Schreiber drinking water system. And then there's the section 11 annual report for the Schreiber drinking water system.
Okay,
It was the section 11 annual report that was revised.
okay,
So the revised copy of that is number 12 under
right,
department reports.
right. Okay, I thought they were one and the same.
Going by the same name, but one is section 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little,
So we're not accepting section 11, we're accepting the original one, okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
All good.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 116-23, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Morrow. The council accept the 2022 annual record of water taking data submission confirmation. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 117-23, moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Burgeot, that council approve the attendance of A. Burgeot and B. Bryson at the AMO 2023 Annual General Meeting and Conference to be held August 20th to 23rd, 2023 in London, and that expenses be paid as per township policy. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Move on to accounts for payment.
bank debits. This one is for the,
Okay,
this one is for the donation. Those are the bank debits.
okay.
They're both under AP.
Resolution 118-23. Moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that bank debits paid out of the general bank account in the month of February 2023 in the amount of $58,150.15 be approved and ratified. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried. Resolution 119-23, moved by Councillor Bryson, seconded by Councillor Burgeot, that council authorize a donation of a golf shirt and a hat to the Thunder Bay District Municipal League Conference and AGM in the amount of $52.84, excluding applicable taxes. All those in favor? Okay.
Good guy won that too, because he said he'd wear it.
That's true, that's right, he did say that, you're quite right.
Okay. Okay, resolution 120-23. Moved Moved by Councilor McGrath, seconded by Councilor Morrow, that resolution 104-23 be rescinded in its entirety. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Carried.
And this was just feedback from the NOHFC in terms of why we needed to change the wording. So we put in the wording as to how they want it. And the good news is we've had our phase 1 approved and we moved on to phase 2. So we'll be putting that phase 2 application. We're moving very quick.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good news.
Yeah.
Oh. Resolution 121-23, moved by Councilor Burgeot, seconded by Councilor Bryson. The Council of the Township of Schreiber authorize a funding application to NOHFC with respect to the renovations at the Schreiber Community Arena and commit $112,800 to the project to be financed through capital borrowing and any cost overruns should they occur. Discussion? Hearing none. Sorry?
Nope, that's fine.
Hearing none, all those in favor? Gary? Resolution 122-23, moved by Councilor Morrow, seconded by Councilor McGrath, that bylaw 8-2023 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of agreement between the Township of Schreiber and Clo Darling Limited be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. Discussion?
The only thing that I would note is that there was some changes to the contract that was presented to us in February, but Tammy has updated a whole list of changes that were needed, and they all make sense. So the amount's actually gone up from 13.7 to 14.1.
Yeah.
Other than, but understandably.
As soon as I seen that discussion, I remembered her saying,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
they've had to add on some,
I believe it's 3 different places.
3 different
Discovery
places, yeah.
Center, yeah.
for Alberta Street, and then unique filters that are needed at the Discovery Center.
Yeah, and that information, well, your questions and the answers are all circulated to us, so.
Yeah, so that you're just aware
Yeah.
that that makes up that change. But it makes perfect sense.
Okay, so all those in favor? Carried. I'll sign it. Resolution 123-23, moved by Councilor Bryson, seconded by Councilor Burgeot, that bylaw 9-2023 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a license agreement between the Township of Schreiber and the Victorian Order of Nurses for Canada, Ontario branch be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried.
We've operated with them without a hitch for a number of years, but it's good to get something on paper just in case anything does arise.
So it's just a continuation of the services they've been providing? Yep, nice.
All it is just mutual indemnification and insurance requirements, which is good.
Okay, resolution 124-23, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that bylaw 10-2023, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between the Corporation of the Township of Schreiber and His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Transportation, related to funding provided under the dedicated gas tax funds for public transportation program for the period of April 1st, 2022 to March 31st, 2023, be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Resolution 125. -23, moved by Councillor Bourgeau, seconded by Councillor Bryson. The council extend the 2022 to 2023 arena season to April 17th, 2023. Discussion?
Nathan?
In terms of where we are right now, temporarily authorize the arena season to be extended, so we do need ratification from council to keep it going until the 17th. We've provided the costs of office extension, of course, in the staff report. So.
I was just hoping, I'm voting yes for it, but I was just hoping somebody, whether it be the Plains Falcons themselves or the Lakehead Junior Hockey League, would come forward and whatever, help us out with a donation to extend it, give us the gates of the games or whatever. Other than that, that's all I'm gonna say, but if I'm for it.
Extending it.
Tammy, do we have guys going in there on Good Friday and on the Monday then too?
Yeah, we'll have guys go and do a building check on Friday and Monday. We
But
have
that-
the arena open on Saturday, Sunday, so they'll have regular shifts during that period of time.
So if we didn't have the ice extended, we wouldn't have the building checks going on, right?
Correct. And Simcoe would have been here this week, but I've canceled all of that. Their new date now for Simcoe to arrive is going to be April 18th, 19th, around that time frame.
So I heard on the radio tonight, man, Douage is the 11th, Marathon's already, or just going to, and Terrace Bay is
Thursday
Thursday, I believe,
is
or,
the last day it's open. We're skating on Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
so, yeah, so we'll have to do that travel expense by ourselves now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy in a little town, but anyway, no.
No, I recognize the expense, and I appreciate the work that went into drawing it up, I do. I just happen to think we're a hockey town,
Yeah,
and I'm hoping there's some economic impact that other businesses will see, and so I would vote yes.
Yeah, I just think many members of our communities have worked hard for mean, it's all volunteer labor. They work hard to build a team that's probably the best on the North Shore. And that takes years, that doesn't happen overnight, so I think with their passion and dedication, that happened, and as a community that they wanna live in and play in, then we need to support that.
I feel the same way. I mean, I wish that we would have had a little bit more time to discuss some ways to recover some of the costs, but understand the way it works. And like I say, I think we need to get behind the team and support them. So I vote yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just that I want to,
Oh, 100%.
it's not it's just,
It's an added expense for the
it's
town.
an added expense. And
Yes.
And we're absorbing it all, right? Like
Right now,
there's,
yeah.
right at this point in time, and
there may have been a couple ice rentals. You know, the U15 team
yeah,
scheduled a couple of games, but
yeah.
everything happened late and fast, so there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to advertise we're gonna have.
No, it did, and unfortunately, there was a lot going on, and everybody, a few of our lives anyway, and
Sure.
appreciate everything that went on there, and get out and,
Dave?
It'll be open to the public next week too then?
Yes.
With the same schedule, public skating, shooting and all that?
Yeah, we've got a public skate, shinny, all of those regular programs are still gonna carry forward. And Beth Ann did a lot of promoting to see if we could get ice rentals. If we were gonna keep it open, we'd put our heart and soul into trying to make it a success. So she's been working hard at that.
so I would say get out and support your Falcons on the 6th and the 8th.
Yep, I think that's the dates.
And let's show
6th and 8th, yeah.
the North Shore the pride we got in this town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, that's, we'll move on into the committee of the whole portion of the meeting with the department reports. And number one is the treasurer report.
So recommendations from the treasurer that resolution 23222 be rescinded in its entirety, and that council transfer from the recreation building reserve $28,666.53 to cover the township portion of the ISA fitness room upgrades as budgeted in bylaw 30/2021. And that council transfer to the NWMO Community Wellbeing Reserve Fund $4,193.24 in regards to the Phase 1 Cask Isle A6 Trail Upgrade project. And that council transferred to the infrastructure reserve $3,633.16 in regard to the reconciliation of Phase 1 Cask Isle A6 Trail Upgrade project as per bylaw 30/2021.
So Nathan, this is just cleaning up some projects, right? Just cleaning up and
Pretty
lining
much.
them up and just one, okay.
Part of the,
Perfect.
part of the year-end process, yeah.
Everybody good with that? Okay, number two, Director of Operations report. Everybody seems to be,
Tammy, did you want to speak about the gov deals?
Gov deals closed at 45,000. and the loader's already been picked up, and it's on its way to its new home.
And our new loader's here too, right, Tam?
Yeah, it was here before the other one left.
See it out there working around town. I've seen it
Nice.
there on a few occasions, moving snow.
And there was I can tell there was a lot of work. The other thing in your stats update is the new boil water procedure. And I can see
Yes.
there's a lot of work that went into that.
Yeah, it's still a work in progress, but we've got a good jump on it, and we've got a lot of questions answered. And so what you're seeing is the first draft, and as a team, we've been working towards finalizing all of that, but the box is pretty much ready to go now. And we've got a definition in there on what is a precautionary boil water and what is an emergency boil water, and there's different procedures for both.
Okay.
And and we've also talked to neighboring communities and stuff like that too, so. We've talked to the health inspector, to everybody, and.
So we know when we have to run around town with.
Right.
Exactly.
Signage.
So there's the two tiers, right? The emergency boil water, we're all gonna be running around.
Right.
And then the procedural where that wouldn't be the case. But again, a key thing is we're taking advantage of the emergency notification system we have. So people take notice in their water bills that were sent out. There'll be a little slip in there that gives instructions with how to register for that through our website.
Okay.
Right, and I'd advise people to register for it if they can. I mean, it's really good. We can get the emergency stuff out that way.
Very quickly.
But as we're sitting here, Tammy, I'd like to maybe add on to the seniors club here. I mean, that's just one click away too. Like, let the seniors club know and how many she's.
I see, use their email blitz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, because that's my one worry, and
You also wanted to add the Hungry Moose.
I also wanted to add the Hungry Moose. I know it's up the highway and there's no water, no town water there, but I think a notice there would go a long way with our seniors, even if they're not up there. Some of the seniors, they would be getting phone from some of the other seniors that are up there.
Okay.
Then I see you broke the town down for when the emergency boil water order comes out. You broke it down into 10 squares, so Benji will
Yeah,
get
just to
so
speed
tuckered
up the
out.
process. And in the box, we've got enough flyers made in case the power's out or the photocopier's not working. There's enough copies made that are labeled according to that map. So it's really quickly when you start delivering and executing the plan, it'll go quite quickly.
Well, I gotta concur with Anne Marie. It was a lot of work getting into it. Appreciate it.
It's gonna make moving ahead much clearer and much easier.
And quicker.
And quicker. Yeah, you're quite right.
Okay. Any more questions for Tammy on that subject? Okay, thanks, Tammy. We'll move on to your next report, and that's winter burials.
So we're bringing this report forward with the utmost respect for the families and loved ones with regard to winter burials at the Schreiber Cemetery. Key points the report covers is with regard to the logistics for winter burials, which are very complex, especially due to snow-covered markers and graves and breaking through frozen ground. While winter full burials are permitted, cremation burials, for instance, are postponed throughout winter. The Director of Operations is requesting consideration of council to allow her to look into the feasibility of utilizing a winter storage vault to postpone full burials until the frost subsides. Tammy, is there anything you wanted to add there, or?
I've just done, no, you've summarized it quite well. I've done a lot of research with surrounding communities, and it's just something that it's worth discussing to know the best way to proceed.
I definitely would want it to, my take on it would be using the brick building for the vault. I don't know if I'd want to use a wood building for the vault. If we go ahead with it, of course.
Is that what other municipalities do?
Are you asking me, sorry?
Yeah,
Yes.
so like
Yes.
neighboring communities, that's what they do?
The ones that don't do winter burials have a vault, and it's a secured location within the cemetery, and it has a camera. That's been my experience with them. And I mean, the ones that I've had experience with are very well maintained and professional looking. I would propose the same kind of thing here. Definitely the brick building is more suitable. And if you chose to build a wooden shed, that could be for the tools. If you go this way, it's important that the building not be used for storage, that the integrity of the building for which it's intended must be respected, and it would be strictly a vault.
I appreciate that clarification, because at one point there was some talk about maybe using it for a vault part of the year and tool shed for the other half. I definitely don't like that idea, but if you're gonna make it be on its own, and it's a much easier thing to take. I mean, it's something to consider.
Yeah.
But I mean, at 2.5 burials a year, it's a hard call to say you might end up making this vault and having it empty. That's the risk you'd run. But I mean, a tool, to accommodate tools, she can do it fairly inexpensively. Like, she's got a price on here for a new tool, for $2,600, and I mean, if she went with a barn style, she could probably do it for $2,200. But I think it's worth considering and talking about. But I think we need to do this in a really respectful manner.
Yeah, and security is key to
It's key.
this
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that nothing's going to be tampered with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only other point I would raise is that, yes, we don't do cremation burial. I don't know that people would store cremated remains in that brick building, because typically we store them
At home.
at home. But the funeral director, Mike King, he'll also offer to store it for you into the spring if you're not comfortable with doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see us ever using that for the cremated remains, the vault, just for full burials.
Yeah.
We'll have to finalize the logistics of everything
Yeah.
once the snow melts, go in and
Check the size.
Check the size exactly,
Yeah.
and see if it's feasible. But at this stage, Tammy, just wanted to bring this to your attention. It is a challenge, and I think really how we've been able to get by for so many years is because we have a really good team that's able to accurately determine locations even in the winter time, and somehow chip away at the frozen ground in a very smart way. So
Like frost levels can go down. I mean, you would know better than anybody. How deep can frost go?
The whole way.
The whole way.
The whole way, the
Yeah.
whole 6
so-
feet that you're going, and sometimes when you get abundance of snow and everything. It's hard. You gotta know, you gotta try and, know where the markers are, and like, we run a program, the programs here, sometimes, Corey and, well, when I was working, I'd come down here and, go into Cecile's office and refresh what's in there, cause you have to move the snow
Yeah.
and so, I mean, it's definitely something to think about.
You know, it's, that's a challenge. It has to be accurate. You do not want to mess anything up there. Our challenge is we have a team of 3 public works employees, you know, for the size of her community, it's quite the challenge. So.
There's a lot of pressure on the crew as well when you're digging, when there's a neighbor there. You don't want to cause any damage to any neighboring sites as well. So it can be a stressful job to be assigned to, and it does take all 3 of them to accomplish it in the wintertime.
Yeah, we check out some things in the spring, and we'll definitely think about it in the
Revisit
next
this?
bit and bring it back, revisit it. Thanks for that, Tammy. Okay, number 4. Another report, the handy transit.
So the recommendation that council accept the quote from Move Mobility in the amount of $154,727.81 plus additional taxes for a 2023 Ford Transit HR AWD and a 4-year 80,000 kilometer extended warranty, and that the funds be allocated from the provincial dedicated gas tax reserve.
This vehicle will last, how long do we keep them, 10 years plus? or-
Well, we've typically switched them every 5 years or
5 years?
so. We typically get about just under $20,000 in the provincial dedicated gas tax. I guess the challenge here is that the price for these converted handy transit vehicles keeps going more and more expensive.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we'll have to hold on to this one a bit
Yeah,
longer.
I was gonna say, why do we flip them every 5 years? What,
Just because we were able to have surplus of money put into the reserve to cover it. So this again will be fully covered with
Yeah.
our reserve,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
as long as we have money in the reserve,
Yeah.
right, we can purchase it. The goal, of course, is to make sure it's well maintained. That's why we do, need to go with something that can be serviced in town, and service it to make sure it keeps going.
It is a nice one. That's the one we've seen down in the Cosmo
Yeah.
Hospital they're going through.
It's quite the wait time.
It is, like Tammy, you're saying ETA is about 13 months, eh?
Yep, that's what they said.
So it's a while, and we also have to, as we get closer, will we not discuss trading in our handy transit or maybe going through Gov Deals?
There's some definite options available to us for the old handy transit.
But we don't need to think about that now.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
but there's definitely some options. I would either we roll it into our fleet and get rid of more older equipment. We might be able to go to Gov Deals. There's all kinds of things. It probably will not be a trade-in on this deal because we have to sign the sales agreement now.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
In general, we do need to upgrade some of our vehicles in our fleet as well, so if we get some money by selling the old handy transit, that could certainly help us with that.
Yeah. And it's nice that this price includes delivery to here. You're not
Yep.
having to go and drive it back here or figure out how you're gonna do that.
I just have so in the 2017, we purchased directly through the local.
Yep.
So that's not an option now, obviously, right?
We did reach out.
And they're not.
The problem with this is apparently the allocation of these vehicles
Okay.
is very much in demand, and it's quite the process to get it, so we did reach out.
Okay, that was.
Yeah.
Okay. But they'll be the one service again.
Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
Yeah. So have we signed a sales agreement?
Have we
I don't think
signed
have.
the?
Yeah, we went ahead and ordered this, yeah?
No,
You
I
have
need
to-
your approval
yeah.
first,
Okay.
because we also need to send a $15,000 deposit for the conversion.
Okay,
Okay, recommendation is to go with it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right now, we do have our temporary solution in effect.
right.
I think, how's that going, Tammy? Have you heard anything?
The SUV is working well for transient people that are able to move around. The wheelchair access is a challenge for sure. It's hard to coordinate the appointments, but we've only ever rented it the once, and then they canceled all buses because of the weather, so then we had to reschedule. And when you start moving doctor's appointments around like that, I don't need to tell you how difficult that becomes to orchestrate it all. But we're getting through it. It's cumbersome, but we're making it work.
So when will the damaged vehicle be repaired? And will that be back in service once it's repaired?
Well, I got an update from them today, and the the mount for the rad, and the rad is still on back order, so that's our holdup. So we're just waiting for that to come in.
But it will be back in service once that's repaired.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
We were originally hoping for 27 days is what they told us.
Right.
But because of the availability of parts, we're looking at longer than that. But we're still hoping that within 2 months, we can have it back on the road.
Okay, I guess
Place the order, send the
we're
deposit.
okay with the recommendation?
Yep.
Okay, number 5, Director of Operations reports aqua expenditures. Expenditure number 1.
Okay.
Recommendation that council accept the expenditure request from Aqua in the amount of $6,156.48, including taxes for the ROV inspection. Just as an FYI, $5,000 was budgeted in last year's water and sewer budget, so $5,000 can be covered via a transfer from the water and sewer reserve. So that means you'd be on the hook for $1,156.48 additional this year.
This is a regulatory inspection, something that we have to do.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Every 5 years,
Every 5 years.
and that's been in service since 2017.
This will be our first inspection.
2019.
Okay.
Tammy, is this something we're gonna have to do every year?
No, every 5
Every 5.
years. Yeah, so we're due to do the inspection next year. They're just inviting us to participate if we want, because there are neighboring communities that also have to have an inspection done, so we can save some money.
So then we'll be on the same, obviously, we'll be on the same schedule as them all the time then.
And it will be a long-term benefit for us, yes.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay, well, it has to be done, so I don't think
Yep.
any,
Do we have to agree to the reserve and and to say yes to this, or to just, the $5,000 is gonna come out of the reserve?
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
eventually what's
yeah,
gonna come
that's
in.
not enough, that's a gonna happen thing.
Okay, number two, expenditure number 2.
That council accept the expenditure request from Aqua in the amount of $5,471.34, including taxes for jar test apparatus. You may also want to look at the addition at this point,
same
because
time.
they are related.
So if I can just clarify these expenses, this is lab equipment that is normally kept in any water plant that has filters in it. Our plant has never had this kind of equipment, therefore we haven't been doing a lot of testing, but having jar testing apparatus available will help us control our coagulant and do ongoing tests. And long after this filter study is done, these tests will continue to happen on a regular basis to stay on top of the chemical usage. So we need three pieces of equipment to make this filter study happen, and that's the DR900. We need this jar testing apparatus, and there will be one more expenditure coming our way for the UV254, which will measure aluminum and color in the water. It needs to be done on the raw side and also on the treated side. We're going to take the cheaper option on that one and have a handheld device rather than installing an inline monitor.
So overall, the expenses, what council would be looking at here today, on top of this, there would be an additional around $3,000 for that UV254 analyzer.
Correct, 3,200 is what he thought it was going to be,
And to
the quote that
clarify-
he's got.
And to clarify that these are going to be handheld devices. They won't be actually installed into the system, so there won't be any installation costs. So
No additional cost, yeah.
the total cost for the then filter performance is looking to be about $40,000, around that.
With the additional 3,200 that we're expecting for the UV254 device, we're looking at about 41,000.
41,000. And
Yes.
35,000 was budgeted
Budgeted.
in the water, was budgeted last year, so it would be in roughly about an additional 6,000 then in this year.
So that color meter, that will be an ongoing test then? Once we
Yes.
If we purchase it, it'll be useful after the testing, after the filter testing.
All of this additional testing and data that we will get by taking on this new regime, it will help us regulate our plant a lot better, and that was the whole purpose of the filter study, was to make sure that we can get through the bumps in the year more smoothly.
Tammy, you mentioned that part of the process was measuring chemical levels or chemical consumption. Is there potential by having this equipment that we could see some cost savings in our process, or?
There is some possibilities of that. That's the whole point of the jar testing, is to make sure that the dosing is optimal. You can overdose or underdose, which causes extra chemical usage later on down the line. So if you can optimize all the dosing along the way, and that's what your jar testing does, there is possibilities that we'll see some cost saving in chemicals.
I also think one of the main points here is the requirement for the requirement to do all this work really stemmed out of the MECP that mandated that we needed to have this in our permit to take drinking water, which gets renewed every 6 years. Tammy, is it 6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it had a timeline associated with it, so this is why it has to be done. What happens after this filter performance, I imagine at some point the MECP is going to be looking into that to see if there's anything from the regulatory side that they may want to apply. So hopefully that isn't foreshadowing more costs to come this way.
I agree that the filter study, I mean, there's no question, the filter study has to be done. I 100% agree. But I am a little disappointed in the quote that we accepted from Aqua. And I realized that was done last year. And I realized you budgeted 35, but it came in at 27.9, and now as it's like okay, we're ready to go, and now we figure out we need another $15,000. So then in saying that, here's my question. Are there any more expenses tied to this original quote that we haven't seen yet, other than the 3 you're giving us today?
Well, there's that UV 254 that I talked about. It's not in front of you on the table at this point. So that one is still coming. I did talk to Aqua today, and they are confident that with this last piece of equipment, lab equipment, we can successfully carry out the study. And the sooner we can start collecting data before the spring turnover happens, will help us analyze the data a lot better.
I guess I don't understand how they don't know they need all this when it starts, is I think what Anne-Marie's struggling with too.
I am.
It baffles me because it seems to be a continual thing dealing with Aqua, that there's always something extra all the time.
Yeah, there's always add-ons.
It's like, do they just make something up, give it to us, and we just say okay, and then are they throw in a bunch of things? Oh crap, we forgot this. Like it makes no sense to me.
So
And I know you don't have an answer or
I know,
anything.
I know, Tammy.
It's
I
just-
I
just
sort of do
frustrating.
have an answer for you. What happened here is, as you know, the pressure filters are very unique to our plant. And it was necessary for the engineers to be on site to determine how they were going to mimic pressure filters with the jar testing apparatus and the different data that they were going to require. So all of that came only after the December report was issued, when we were given a deadline date to when the study had to happen by. So it was kind of all last minute. Now I agree with you, to some degree, but I have had conversations with them, and I can only tell you what I'm being told.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tammy, this is not reflective on you.
And it's
No,
Yeah.
let me be clear.
They've been running this plant for quite some time. They should be very familiar with everything that could happen. Yeah. Okay. It's just frustrating, that's all.
It is frustrating, Pam.
Mhm.
Because this is,
Agreed.
no, we'll update the capital project amount. That's not a problem, right? But now, it's important to know that we had originally, Nathan's right, funded 35 under a bylaw at that. And that's we're gonna either have to, with the rest of the capital, figure out, do we go to reserve? Do we bury it in your 2023 costs? We've already passed your 2023 operating budget. I don't think there's a lot of room to move in there. So not only is the quote, it's hard to manage, but it's hard to manage the money after the fact when everything's already been passed and bylaws have been created. It just makes for a mess. And these expenses truly aren't operating. They're part of that capital project. That's all I'll say about that. Sorry. And it's not reflective on you at all.
Thanks.
Okay, hearing no more discussion, we're okay with as okay as we can be.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like,
What's the alternative?
we don't exactly.
I know.
That's the most annoying part. What's
No,
the
you have-
alternative?
you have to be
We have
there.
no alternative, absolutely
No,
right.
you have to be there. Like
Yeah.
I was in the office last week, I was up at the water plant last week. They got the valves put, like, I'm worried, we need the study started before the spring runoff. I mean, that,
Yeah,
and
oh, absolutely.
I know, I'm frustrated with that too. Okay, so we're good with that, so that takes care of
So for
number
the jar
5 and
testing, yeah. The jar
13.
testing? Okay.
So then we'll see the other thing at the next meeting, Tammy, that you're talking about, the extra.
The UV 254,
Yeah.
yes. The DR 900 is the addition to
addition,
this agenda.
So,
And the UV 254 will be at the next meeting.
okay, so this meeting, it's jar testing apparatus and,
And the DR 900 or whatever it is.
okay,
Color,
yeah.
color meter.
And the color meter, okay. The lab equipment, right, okay.
The DR 900 is the colorimeter.
Okay.
Multi-parameter color meter, color. meter.
Yeah.
DR 900, okay.
Okay then, so we'll move on to number 6, the Ontario Street Water Main Upgrade Project.
A recommendation that council accept the proposal from JML Engineering in the amount of $18,750 plus applicable taxes for contract administration services for the Ontario Street Water Main Upgrade Project.
And that pricing is included in the next item, so
It
we're
is.
good to go.
I can go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, number
Yeah.
7 too, yeah.
The recommendation there is that council enter into a contract with Main Rehabilitation Incorporated for the Ontario Street Water Main Upgrade Project in the amount of $458,787.50 plus applicable taxes. The township portion of the contribution, as this is a partially funded through grant dollars, it would be $129,600.86. This would be within budget of the funding ratio at 73.33% federal and provincial funding, where the township's portion of funding would be 26.67%. As this is a new capital project for 2023, no decision has been made on where the township portion is being funded from. The design phase of the project was budgeted in 2022. That was approximately $20,000, and that was funded through a transfer from the Water and Sewer Reserve. So at this point, it will be moved forward in terms of your capital list, and you can look at
Where it's coming.
determining
How we
you
wanna cover it,
handle
yeah. But it'll be nice to see this project complete.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I have no issues with it, and she's included all the pricing. Tammy, you've included all the pricing, you've included even the contracts, you've included everything in here, it looks good. Yeah, maybe you could run a course on how to make quotes, I don't know. Okay, perfect. And, oh, sorry, that's gonna be done, they say by the end of August, yeah?
They hope to be here end of May, beginning of June, and the work will take 2 weeks to do. And then there's it will be done before August 11th.
Oh, nice.
After that, there'll be penalties.
I just had one question on why would there be only one bidder? Is that like very specified work and like it just seems that, I mean, there's probably money to be made on that project, so.
There was some theories with that. I mean, there's a lot that part of it is like the timing of the bid. If people have projects already in line, right?
Right, okay.
Then they filled their quota, so to speak.
Yeah.
In this case, there was also a requirement to, I believe there was a requirement to visit on-site as part of the bid requirements. Perhaps that may have factored in. That being said, with even some of our construction tenders, we've ended up with, just one bidder. So
Yeah.
location seems to
Right.
be a huge factor for any construction projects. You gotta move people quite a way out of their typical area in order to mobilize here, right? So,
Yeah, and the other side of that too is, we learned this at our last conference, is there's just nobody to work. Skilled workers are hard to come by.
Yeah.
And it's just the nature of the beast. All right.
This is a very specialized skill set that's required for this job. These people have been working in Northern Ontario, and they've got a big contract with Thunder Bay. So they've moved they have a yard in Thunder Bay to stage all of their equipment and stuff. So they're also by far going to be the cheapest for us, because the mobilization is not going to be near as far.
Okay.
And when they get working, that street's gonna be closed, right?
Shouldn't be.
No, they can do most of their work from the shoulder. The main does not run down the middle of the road, it runs down the shoulder of the road. And Corey's gonna be able to identify exactly where the pipe is. We'll do that once the snow is gone. But we can do the majority of it from the shoulder.
So disruption to traffic should be minimal.
Yep,
Nice.
They work out of pits, eh?
Okay,
So.
yep.
nice.
Okay, so we're good with the recommendation on that? So we'll move on to, number 8, Schreiber Senior Center, minutes.
Okay, couple things, I guess. You can see on the report, paint night, one of the new things that the senior center ran on March 8th. It was well attended, and I think they had approximately 28 participants, and it ran for a few hours. And I think the thought is the next time they are planning, because it was successful, to have another one, but they'll have it more in the daytime, because it started at 6:30 and it ran late, especially with the workers, the volunteers helping them. So the excursion to Thunder Bay and going to Magnus Theatre and shopping in Thunder Bay, taking the bus up there, that was advertised, and it will take place on April 22nd. And from what I understand, it's almost full now, so if anybody wants to get on the bus, get going. And the United Way grant, I think that was that a no on that, Tammy? United
I
Way?
believe so.
Yeah, and that was for food hampers, I think.
I believe we were denied on that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So still some things ongoing. Presentation about funeral arrangement and estate planning. That's planning for that. Computer training, there's a planning to get that going. Floor curling we did with grade 7 and 8 students. Weekly jam sessions, musical jam sessions. That's another idea. Try to get going this year. And some of the stuff that is going on is coffee time session, Swedish weaving, which is very successful, the VON program, remotely foot care, and the blood pressure and blood sugar clinics. That's going on right now. It has a schedule. And the next one is April 19th, and that takes place in the municipal center. So that's all I have on that.
Okay, busy.
Busy, yeah.
Busy group.
Okay, we'll move right on to the Occupational Health and Safety Committee minutes.
And just reading the minutes and asking a question, I think it'd be nice to congratulate Patrick on getting his training is now complete, Tammy tells me.
Yep.
Yeah. good
His
work.
certification training is complete.
Yeah. Did you want to do anything specific? Send them.
No, I just think it's
Just
important to publicly
acknowledge it
acknowledge
tonight.
he's completed, and I think that's
Yeah.
great, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we'll move on to number 10, Schreiber Public Library Board Meeting.
Let's say anything.
And re-asked it.
Oh, did you?
I
Sorry.
think Marlene answered it quite
Yeah.
well.
No, sorry.
If there's any further clarification.
Did you guys see it? Like, no, it's just. Okay, you go. It's just,
So
this
I
is
think
your
that-
committee.
I think in terms of the thought, the board itself is always worried because the town runs the reserve, that they could just kind of take the reserve money, use it as, but I don't think they would never do that. But that fear is always there, so I think the thought was we allocate that, we're gonna do something with it, and it's in a motion, and then that's.
Just the motion looks a little funky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the motion really is just a recommendation, right?
Yeah,
That's a better word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Marlene kind of summed up the.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. I mean, that's good. I learned something from that answer from Marlene too, so
Yeah.
it's all good.
And I get it. I get why you're doing it, but I just, the way it was written,
Yeah.
Dave, I just thought, okay, that doesn't look right.
And,
Something wrong with
you
that.
know what could have happened at that meeting in particular? There was, as you can see, there was a bajillion motions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so some wires could have got crossed when they were writing, because they hand on the motions in the moment sometimes.
Okay.
And then they could have just signed it, or it could have just been written poorly, I don't know,
Right.
in all fairness to the meeting.
Yeah. They also are a very busy group. And
Yeah, super busy.
Yes.
And that library is a real asset to our community, so carry on.
Yeah, and Linda's doing a great job stepping in and learning. So there's a lot to learn in that position, so.
Yeah, good to hear.
And she'll be,
Yeah.
and Donna's
Yes.
contract is up, so now it's
Yeah.
Linda's flying solo, so
And so
she's
now,
gonna do a good job.
so because you mentioned it, regarding that deck, that an expanded deck is not going to be possible?
No, I think it's just something they've always talked about. When
Okay.
they originally, when we got, they wanted to renovate, like when they got the grant to renovate, that was always another plan
Okay.
to have that as part of the original one. They didn't get enough money to do that in that original renovation grant back, I don't know how many years ago was that, 5, 6 years ago when they redid the interior. Was it that long ago? I don't even remember. Yeah, it was Canada 150 grant.
Yeah, right.
So-
Oh, that's about
Yeah.
5 years ago, yeah.
So, and it's just always been something they talked about, and I know Tammy's looked at the deck back there, and it's not in the best condition, but I think Tammy and Linda have a plan going
Okay.
forward that makes financial sense.
Yeah. No, and they are busy.
Yes.
They are, I don't doubt it at all. It's just when I was reading the minutes, it just looked a little,
Yeah, no, that's fair. Okay.
We're good with the library then after?
Always
Also,
good with the lights.
sorry, we're always good with the library, that's right.
Number 11, Aqua Schreiber Water and Wastewater Treatment System Report.
I didn't see anything out of the norm, Tammy, anything that you wanted to highlight in this?
No, the report looked good to me.
Yeah.
Okay, Aqua, the revised Regulation 170-2022.
So the difference is really in the first version that you've seen, there was some wastewater data in there, and it shouldn't have been. This report is strictly about the drinking water system. So he just took that wastewater data out of there so that it was only reflecting the drinking water system.
Okay. Okay, then, if we're all good with that, we'll move into communications.
Number 2. Something we do every year.
Exbury High School bursary request?
Yep.
Yep.
And the policies attached to your agenda as well.
Yeah.
So it's $500 each.
Yes.
Sounds good. And you, I don't know if anybody else have questions about that?
No,
No, let's make
we're
sure we
good.
do
Yeah,
it.
we're good with that.
Yeah.
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 That's either college or university,
There's no differentiation
yeah, it
anymore.
used to be
Yeah.
one at
Yeah,
one
we
time,
did
but
that.
now it's either or.
Yeah.
Either or.
Just as post-secondary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to touch on anything in DSAM, Anne Marie? or-
Oh, well, unless you guys have any questions about the minutes. They're just regular minutes. Is there any highlights from DSAP from those minutes? It was pretty much business as normal. The closed session had one item that would be of no, probably of little to no interest for the Township of Schreiber, maybe for another community, but they have their AGM next week that I'll be going to. And I'll bring some information back from that, but there wasn't really anything of note of anything of interest. I don't necessarily have my binder with me, but I can look it up real quick.
Do they ever like talk about bringing a daycare back in this area and funding that, or no?
No,
That's
because
just-
their funding model deals strictly with early childhood education, right? They have
Yeah.
that in their portfolio. They're waiting for decisions to be made from Community of Social Services of what they are going to continue to fund and not fund. But you're quite right. Terrace Bay has also asked me to keep my ear to the ground
Okay, yeah.
for any daycare funding because they're also interested in daycare funding.
Yeah.
But to date, funding for seniors complexes, I've heard nothing. There's some, there was one project approved for affordable living, but not seniors, and nothing really on daycare. And right now, they're in the middle of working on their homelessness initiative for those grants that are coming out. But to date, I haven't heard of anyone even being awarded. I think they're just working on it right now.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Terrace Bay has asked me to keep my ear to the ground for that stuff too, and I have been.
Is there any mention about our facility here in town?
Other than originally, the list of work
Yeah.
that was going to be done, that the intent is to still have that done. The only other thing I will say about that, they have updated their maintenance and cleaning standards for the buildings that they own within the region. So they've got a whole brand new set of rules and regulations that they're gonna follow, and they're busy getting that put together and then of course put out into the area. They own a lot of buildings, so there's a lot of sharing of stuff, but yeah. I've gone over and had one visit with Loretta, but I know the mayor has actually had a chance to talk to one of the DSAP reps while she was down. We had linked her up with the North Shore Family Health Team, and because the North Shore Family Health Team is planning some initiatives on hosting some stuff in that common room. So we hooked her up with DSAP while they were down, but you might want to speak to some of the things that you were able to discuss?
Well, no, I think she's, the programmer.
Yes.
And, she's very good. She seems to be very good, and, they're gonna be doing, every second month they're coming down here. They're planning on, just some of the projects. They're doing the blood and sugar check and everything over there too, and, they're gonna be doing some barbecues, and like, they're gonna be getting involved, and they're gonna try and, work with the attendants that are there more
Yeah, that's good news.
often,
Yeah.
and, she's very good. She phoned Kathy today when we were down in Terrace Bay, and talked with Kathy over things that have happened there, and,
Mm-hmm.
so, no, it was good.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I think things are gonna be, better things are gonna happen.
Yeah, I think
Put
this
it that
cleaning
way.
and maintenance standard upgrade is something they needed to
Yeah.
do, and I think that you're gonna see improvements with that.
That's great.
But yes, I'm keeping my
Yeah.
ear open for
Ditto
daycare.
for us, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever Terrace Bay.
Yeah,
That's a hot button issue still.
it is, you're quite right.
Anything else in communications anybody wants to chat about? No?
The only thing I found of interest was those tax reclassifications from Essex. That if you had like an Airbnb in your home and stuff, right? But Marlene pointed out to me, strangely enough, for their resolution that the Minister of Finance sets tax classes, not MPAC. That going after MPAC about that wasn't probably something, but I don't know if we have a lot of Airbnb in our homes in this community, if it's even a concern for us. I don't think it is it, Nathan?
Not too many that I'm aware of. Airbnb has been a challenge in a lot of southern Ontario municipalities, especially when you have, some communities are aiming to have housing, and an entire condo is just all Airbnb. It's just a whole condo is a hotel, right? So it's becoming an issue in southern Ontario where just rental housing is not available for some
Right.
because everyone's trying to, make as much money as they can off of Airbnb. It is a challenge, and what they're pointing out here is compared, someone is running it like a hotel business in all intents and purposes. Actual hotels are paying significant property tax because of that commercial designation versus someone running an Airbnb
Yeah.
full time. The problem is how exactly do you intervene in these circumstances?
Right.
It's how do you
Yeah.
enforce it? It's very challenging.
Does Airbnb qualify as an at-home business?
Go ahead.
Like, can you make
It-
someone pay that fee?
Some Airbnbs you can rent out, like you could go and, remember the students, well, maybe later than you, but earlier than me, they used to do couch surfing.
Mm.
That was a thing, right? Traveling across the country, you were doing couch surfing, which I think is crazy, but a lot of Airbnbs are like renting a room in someone's house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not an at-home business?
To some extent, right?
But we
You'll
couldn't
have to-
enforce it?
You'll have to look at that to see if it is a home-based business. All we have is $100.
Yeah, no, better than Something. Okay. Just
Mhm.
But that's the only thing I thought of interest of the communications was that.
But you're right, in terms of licensing, for instance, could potentially bridge that gap if there was a licensing fee, but that, something you could look at, but, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So we got no unfinished business too. We've got no other business, so we have to go back in camera, so a resolution. That's the adjournment of the open session, resolution 126-23, Moved by Councillor Burgeot, seconded by Councillor Bryson, that the closed meeting resume at this time. All those in favor?